welcome to Brighter Rays. Today we are looking at 1 John 2:12 through 14, and the study is entitled, I Write to You. Now, arguably, there are many ways to write a sermon. Over the years, I've taken classes, read books, read or listened to a lot of sermons. Each person has had their own way to present what they're speaking on. Of course, there are certain elements that are necessary for a sermon to be a sermon, and not just like a TED Talk or a motivational speech. There must be an interpretation of the text, an explanation of the meaning of the text, and an application. There also must be an awareness and a theological understanding that the group of people to whom a sermon is being delivered contains individuals on an entire spectrum of spiritual maturity and understanding. There are those present that are unbelievers, or as John has said, liars and spiritually blind people. Unless God regenerates their hearts, most of the sermon will not be heard or understood by them. They don't have the ears to hear, and so their response will reflect that. Why would you want to listen to someone speak for 45 minutes about a God that you hate or is your enemy? Doesn't really make any sense. Over the last 20 years of working with youth and children, I found it saddening that many parents are quick to blame their children's lack of interest in church because of everything except the heart of the child. They'll blame programs, music style, the difficulty of the material being presented or the lack thereof, the atmosphere of the room, or most unfortunately, the sharing of the gospel. Could it be that your child is not a Christian, and that's why they find church boring or insufferable? Maybe they're liars and walking in the dark, as John says. Or maybe your child is just spiritually immature. They're gagging on the meat that is being offered instead of the milk that they're used to. Do we give up and do them a disservice of catering to their sinfulness? Spiritual maturity is less about age and more about knowing God and keeping the commands of Jesus. So, sermons must contain things that you already know. You should view this as an affirmation of the truth that you know, and that allows it to help solidify and establish things in your heart. Parts of sermons will go over your head, or you won't understand. That's okay, because there's other people listening that might be further along down the road than you are, and they might need to hear that. Or maybe they have a different circumstance in their life that a point in the sermon may speak to them while you really can't identify with it. But a good sermon will mimic Scripture in this way. It's all good, but each part will impact people differently at different times and in different walks and at different points in their walk too. Now, in our text that we're going to be looking at, we find John calling out specific groups of people and telling them why he's writing. He has already said that he is writing so that our joy may be complete. He's writing so that you may not sin. He's writing no new commandment, but an old commandment. And there are more reasons he gives for writing after this. He'll have several more. As we go through the book, he'll say, I'm writing to you because of this. But in the 3 verses that we're looking at this week, he's letting the people know that he's writing to them. They need to listen up. He doesn't have different messages really for different people. It's not like a completely different message that only certain people hear. It's really all one message. Yet there's different maturities, different levels, different ages, and they all need to pay attention because the elder, John, is writing to them. So come back tomorrow and we'll begin with verse 12, looking at the little children.